And welcome to Around the Clock. I'm your host, Yolanda Greaves. On today's show, we're going to be speaking with Paul Kendall of the school committee. He's going to be discussing the 2020 budget updates and process that is going on. He's going to discuss with us some of the preschool changes that the school committee has passed, as well as speak to us about his re-election campaign as he runs for his second term on the Ashland School Committee. Of course, we'll have the selectmen update from the meeting that happened on Wednesday, February 20th, and of course, a short but ever enjoyable Around the Town tour. So stay with us as I bring you Around the Clock. Welcome back to Around the Clock. It's time for our Around the Town tour. We don't have too many stops today. We are going to start up at the Ashland High School. The Make-A-Wish Club had their bounce-a-thon. It was an opportunity for kids to go up to the high school, bounce in a number of bounce houses, and the Make-A-Wish Club used it as a fundraiser. The Make-A-Wish Club, we're going to be doing a more detailed story on them on a future show, but they are a local club from the high school who raises money for children who then get to make a wish. They also take their club down to Disney every year, where they work for kids and work in the Disney parks with kids who are down there getting their wishes granted. So congratulations, and hopefully you had the opportunity to go and bounce around at their bounce-a-thon. From the Ashland High School, we had a snowy day, and we had the opportunity, Paul Bowden here from WACA-TV went out and took a drive with one of the Department of Public Works plow drivers. So let's go take a look at what they did on that snowy day.
Route with two trucks. That way we get a nice full pass on the wider roads to keep them open for all emergency personnel and for residents and stuff.
So how would you rate the roads today, even though the storm has just started?
Right now we're pretty in control of it, you know. I mean, traffic actually, as much as you don't think, sometimes does help with the salt output. You know, we put salt down the roads and it does transfer it around, kind of carries it around a little bit. It kind of aids us. The temperature today is actually floating at a good, not too cold, so it actually comes right up with a pass on the plow. So we don't get that hard pack. When we start getting that hard pack, that gets a little more tough to treat as you get, you know, about an inch on the ground, then we're kind of riding on top of the surface, which that makes it even more slick.
Thank you, Paul, for sharing that footage. So if you ever question what our public works plow drivers are doing as they drive by, now you get a little feel of what it looks like from their advantage when they're driving in their trucks. We're going to take a little more somber note. We took a drive over to Sherborne, and out in front of one of the churches there was a memorial for the shooting that happened in Parkland, Florida just over a year ago. They had chairs with the names of each of the students that passed away. It's a reminder to all of us that society right now can be very difficult, and we have to really be mindful and be aware of everybody and see how we can support them. Our own Ashland High School is doing things to support our students in their mental health as well as their academics. And they are having a program coming forward. It is part of their Courageous Conversations. This particular event will be happening on Monday night, March 1st, and it is called Conversation versus Confrontation. And it's being produced and created. There is someone coming in. I don't have his name, but you can go to the Ashland Public School website or to the Ashland Public Library. It is someone coming in doing slam poetry as well as having conversations with students and the community. This is an event open to everybody in the community, so if you're interested, you can go to the Ashland Schools website and check in on that. They are asking for people to register just so that they make sure they have enough room. And believe it or not, that is it for our Around the Town tour. If you ever have an event or something that you'd like to share, make sure you send it to us here at WACA-TV. and welcome back to Around the Clock. I'm your host, Yolanda Greaves. Today we have Paul Kendall of the Ashland School Committee. Paul, welcome to Around the Clock.
Thanks for having me.
We brought Paul in for a number of different things that are going on in the schools, plus the fact that he's running for re-election. Let's start with some of the registrations that have happened in the past, some changes. So talk about preschool a little bit. There was a change made in some of the preschool scheduling, and I know some people still have questions. Can you talk to us about that a little bit?
Yeah, so with the preschool, if you know the history of the preschool, it was, aside from just the public preschool portion of it, it was kind of a private preschool. Mm-hmm. And so over the years, we've slowly started to integrate that into fully into the schools. And so as part of that, it's going to turn into more of a fully integrated preschool. And what that really just means is that each classroom is going to have it's going to be dual certified with a teacher and an aide, and also have a mix of kids that need services. Could range from anything from some that need speech help, or something on the autism spectrum, right, with what they call role model kids, or just the kids that don't need those services. And that's really the change. And so the biggest change that I think that impacted people is the lack of the 2 and 3 day options. And those just created a lot of challenges with filling the spots. And it also doesn't strike the right balance with getting the routines in for the kids that are receiving services. So that's the biggest change that impacts people. Most of the things that we're typically filling up were the 5 day slots, and so there are more of those now. Right. And so those are the biggest changes with that.
Okay, good. And you said that the registration for that has already happened. We have a lot of preschools here in Ashland, and the Ashland preschool is just one of them. So I think for a lot of people, they think, oh, if I can't get into that one, oh no. But we have a lot of good preschool programs.
And really the purview of the school systems is to supply those services for those that either have been newly identified or transitioning away from early intervention. So that's the key focus, and that's what our priority has to be.
And I think for a lot of people, they may not realize this, that they think, okay, kids get into kindergarten and we're identifying kids who have special needs and services, but we actually have to do that from a three-year-old and up.
Exactly.
So that's why we have the Ashland preschool to integrate it.
And unlike kindergarten, we get them when they turn 3. Right. And we get notified, and this transition starts at 2.9. So that doesn't align to, it's a continual thing. So if we get a kid halfway through the year that turns 3, well, that's when they come into a system. It's not with kindergarten, if you're 5 on or at a certain date, it's August 31st. Then you come in that next school year. Preschool is a little different, that it transitions throughout the year.
Okay, let's go to kindergarten. First year of full day kindergarten is under your belt. How are things going with that? It's
great. We have, as I expected, we have a lot of, the enrollment went up significantly. I think we have around 230 kindergartners. So. Back when we were talking about that transition and trying to get to that, I think it was more around 187 or something like that. So,
wow, that's quite a difference.
Yeah, I mean, there's a combination. We would see a jump from a kindergarten to first grade enrollment because people might choose to go somewhere else for kindergarten. But I think it's a combination of we're getting those kids in there that needed that full day, or we're seeking it elsewhere that didn't get into the full day. So yeah, I think it's the right thing for the kids. We're able to supply the supports for the kids that may not have been identified as needing services, but allows us to meet their needs and help them transition into first grade.
Well, and I think, as you said, a lot of families were looking for that full day kindergarten. So the fact that we can now offer it just from from the tax dollars that people pay, I think that's a very positive
thing. And it comes down to equity, right? So it wasn't about, like my kids went through there, it's not about making sure I get in there. I paid the money, but those kids or those families that may or may not be able to afford that particular option, having that be free for them, tuition free, then that allows those kids to get in there, and we can supply those services early on.
Well,
So,
and I also think just full day kindergarten gives the students a little bit more opportunity. I had one daughter who got in and another daughter who did not. And as it turns out, the second daughter probably would have benefited from full day kindergarten in Ashland.
Yeah.
So now to know that every student has full day kindergarten will have benefit from that full day program, that's a nice thing to know.
the other thing that I don't think people understand is it allows us to do more curriculum-wise.
Right.
Because previously we could not legally do anything different with the kids that went full day as we did the kids that went half day, which was very restrictive.
Right.
We had them for the full
full
day,
day.
and we could only do the curriculum that we were doing for the. Now
Right.
they would have the whole day to
Right,
do it,
and they,
so
would,
there
they
was,
could
they were
expand
benefiting.
on certain things
But
and
now
things like
now
that.
we can.
Yeah.
Now there's no restrictions.
Good.
So we don't have to look at something and say, well, can we do that with the half day?
Right.
Well, now we only have full
Full
days,
days.
so
Good.
the curriculum is going to be expanding too.
So that goes into our next discussion about the budget. So we lost the revenue from full day kindergarten. Now all of our students are full day, so that revenue is gone. But talk to us about the upcoming budget and other ways that that revenue is not completely being captured, but another way that we're getting some additional funds for it.
Yeah, I think as you know, this has been an interesting budget cycle.
Yes.
It's been nerve-wracking at times and then exciting at other times.
And we're still not sure where we're at, and we're still playing it somewhat conservative, but
Yeah, so we had a budget workshop on the 15th. Three of the selectmen, including
Yeah.
yourself, did join us, and so we appreciate that. At that time, we were still, if we did a level service budget, we were looking at a $700,000 deficit,
right.
on the school side. That's primarily because of some increase in special education out-of-district costs, both with tuition and transportation. But that was significant. And then come January 23rd, the governor releases his budget.
Right.
And there was significant Chapter 70 changes, which significantly impacted the expected aid that's going to come in. So with that we will be able to erase that deficit,
Right.
and add some programming. But it also allows us to escalate our time frame where we can absorb that full day kindergarten.
Right.
So as everybody knows, we took a $250,000 infusion one time from
Right.
free cash to help us kickstart that,
Right.
and then get us to where we can absorb it and make it sustainable. So that was in a 3-year plan to make it sustainable.
Okay.
That should be able to be done this year.
Good,
So
nice.
with that extra Chapter 70.
So I know what Chapter 70 is. You know what Chapter 70 is. Some of our viewers may know. Talk a little bit more about what Chapter 70 is and how it really impacts what we do here in Ashland in regards to education.
Sure. So there's state aid for general municipal. There's lots of different state aids, and Chapter 70 is the educational state aid. And something that's happened several years ago was there was a foundation budget commission that reviewed the formula that determined the municipalities' aid that they got. It's over 20 years old, and it over time has not kept up with the changes in healthcare costs and different demographic changes and things like that. And so, to the governor's credit, this year he, for the most part, implemented the recommendations of that foundation review budget, commission review budget. So that change means for us, our state aid is going to go up significantly. So it's very exciting from one point of view, but it was long overdue. So we've struggled. It's put a lot of strain on us because there wasn't the equity. There was surrounding towns that were getting significantly more state aid. This kind of changed that and leveled that out a little bit. So that's
Good. Well, Paul, thank you for coming on Around the Clock.
No problem.
We appreciate it. Thanks for all the work you've been doing on the school committee,
yourself as
and
well.
good luck in your election.
all right. Thanks.
Okay. And that's it for this segment of Around the Clock. Hello, welcome back to Around the Clock. It's time for the Selectmen's update for the meeting that happened on Wednesday, February 20th. We started a few minutes late after being in executive session to discuss some issues regarding the Eversource pipeline, which when it becomes public, we will be able to share that. We then went into an update from Beth Reynolds on the Business Incentive Program. This is a program for businesses either coming to Ashland or in Ashland who are looking for ways to fund renovations or projects that they're doing. We were notified that there are 2 businesses that are coming to Ashland and participating in this business incentive program. One of them is the brewery that is going in on Cherry Street right near Town Hall. And the second is Dolce de Leche. You may know them from their ice cream and sherbet that they sell at the farmers market during the summer. They have a brick and mortar store in Framingham, and they're going to be constructing a warehousing, distribution, and cafe at 200 Homer Ave in the Telecom building. So we look forward to both of those businesses coming forward and also participating in our business incentive program. We were then given an update by Jim Zabrowski, who is the chair of the Council on Aging. There are 2 groups. There is the Council on Aging, which is an advisory group that is appointed by the Board of Selectmen. And then there is the Friends of the Council on Aging. The Council on Aging is advisory, has no budgetary or financials that they handle. The Friends of the Council on Aging do fundraising and actually give and donate and support different programs. Jim talked to us about some of the great programs that the Council on Aging is doing. They are working with Kim Katob, who works for the town. They are the advisory board, and they support the Director of Services, who is Kim Katob, and also Joanne Duffy. He did let us know that there is 1 vacancy on the Council on Aging. If you are interested, they meet the first Thursday of the month. Their meetings start at 10 o'clock at the community center. You can come on out for the Lions breakfast that happens the first thing at 9. You could stay for the Council on Aging meeting. And then if you'd like, you can also stay for the Friends of the Council on Aging meeting. We were given an update by Izzy Asenko. Middlesex Savings Bank donated $15,000 to the Friends of the Council on Aging. It was part of a total $1.4 million donation that they did to charitable organizations. So thank you to Middlesex Savings Bank for supporting the Friends of the Council on Aging. We then were supposed to have a hearing for Wine Empire. Unfortunately, Gianluca, the owner, was not able to attend, so that will be happening on March 6th. He is looking to alter the premises where he currently has a coffee shop and turn that into a little wine bar and wine tasting area. So that hearing has now been postponed and it will be happening on March 6th. From those appointments, we went to our consent agenda where we accepted the donation of 2 freezers from Bill Gaff. We also accepted the resignation from Donna Villermier, I apologize on the pronunciation, from the Council on Aging, and that is why we now have a vacancy. We then went from our consent agenda and we discussed the request from Max Performance. They are looking to use the roads in Ashland for 2 different events, 2 triathlons that they hold. We had pulled it out because it was noted that they donate to Hopkinton sports organizations, and we're going to talk to them about possibly donating to Ashland sporting organizations. We then went into old and new business. We appointed Evan White to our Stormwater Committee. Evan White is an employee. He works for the Public Works Department. He's an engineer, and he'll be taking the position of an ex officio member from Regita, who left us back in the fall. We also appointed Joe Mignani to be the point person to sign some documentation for the purchase of the land back on Oregon Road. This is property that we supported and approved the purchase of at the November town meeting. We are now filling out the purchase. We are filling out and having the closing for that documentation and for that property. So Town Forest will get just a little bit bigger. We reviewed the discussion of the building department fees. It was told to us by Jen Ball, our assistant town manager, that they are reviewing the building fees in Ashland, comparing them to other communities, and we will most likely be having a hearing either at our March 6th or our second meeting in March to discuss the possibility of increasing some of those building fees, as well as making them a little more level in regards to our gas inspection permits versus our electrical permits. We discussed and opened our spring BAA grant round. So that has now been opened and it will be available, and you can do submissions until March 31st of 2019. So if you'd like to apply for one of our BAA grants, the application is online at the town website. And we appointed Rob Shear and Steve Mitchell as a subcommittee to review those grants and then put recommendations forward to the rest of the board. We also opened the scholarships for the Board of Selectmen. They are available until May 1st. That is available to any senior who resides in Ashland. It does not matter where you go to school, but you have to be a resident of Ashland and you can apply for this scholarship. That is also up on the town website, and now that we've approved it, it will be sent out to the various schools, guidance departments, so that they have it. And myself and Joe Mignani have been appointed to the subcommittee, so we get all the scholarship applications, read through them, and then determine who should get the Selectman Scholarship. We do like to see students who are going toward public service or citizens or civic history, things like that. We try to give those preference. That doesn't always happen because not too many students are doing that, but it's certainly something to consider. We then had a quick update on the Eversource project. This is the pipeline that is connecting Hopkinton through to Framingham, going right through Ashland. We're in the process of discussing things with Eversource, and we are known as an intervener. So we are intervening in their process to discuss some of the issues that could affect Ashland moving forward or during the process of the construction. From there, we had a town manager report, but it was done by our assistant town manager, Jen Ball, as our town manager is on vacation. We do let him go on vacation once in a while because everyone needs a break, and I'm sure he'll come back refreshed and energized and even more eager to go to work, which is hard for him to do because he's so eager already. We had an update on our bond rating. We stayed at a AAA bond rating. A couple of our items did get improved, so some of the characteristics were updated, so that was positive to hear. We had an update on the status of the owner's project manager. So this is for the public safety building. They had 10 people submit or reply to the RFQ. That was whittled down to 3 who they interviewed, and within the next week or 2 they should decide which person or which group they'll be working with to get the public safety building moving forward. We also had an update on the Riverwalk project. The original design had a single span over part of the reservoir over by the historical committee, the historical building, by the waterfalls off of Myrtle Street. I got that out. Because of the cost for that, we are proposing a different structure. So wood pilings would go out. It would be more of a flat boardwalk style of walk. We had to go through the Concom and get an update from them, as well as working with the EPA. So it has been reviewed with the EPA to put the wood pilings into the river, and Concom has given the approval that is necessary. So that will now go back out to bid. We're working with Green, who is doing the project management for us on the Riverwalk. So hopefully we'll get something, some bids back, and hopefully that project can be finished by the fall. We then had an update on the Warren District. We are looking to hire someone, a project manager. The interviews have been done. It's a 2-year potential position, and the offer has been made, but we have not heard back. So hopefully we'll have a name of who that new project manager will be at our next meeting in March. We then also had an update on the Rail Transit District. Not too much is going on, except that the YMCA has closed. They now own the property off of the MBTA road, right in back of the Dunkin' Donuts. So that project, the YMCA project, will be moving forward. At the beginning of our meeting, we did send out our condolences, and I'd like to just do that again. 3 families who have been a big part of Ashland, either currently or in the past, lost members who have touched many of us. The first was Ben Alberini, who was our highway supervisor when it was an elected position, so that was quite a while ago. He and his family have lived in town for a very long time. One of his grandsons, Chris Alberini, is on our currently on our police department. We also lost Jose Muri. She is the wife of Robert Muri, one of our public works employees. Again, they've been in town for a while. And then the last was Paul Vizikowski. He worked at the Ashland Public Library, and his wife Cheryl had just recently retired from the town collector's office. It's always hard and sad when we have to pass on these passings, but we always think it's important to let our viewers know, had you known these families, that you can reach out and give your condolences, as we do, from all of us at the Board of Selectmen, as well as from all of us at WACA-TV. And that's the update for the Selectmen meeting from February 20th. Thanks for watching. Well, winter sports are wrapping up at the Ashland Public High School as well as the middle school, and we have a few updates that we'd like to share with you. The first is from our swimming and diving team. I'm taking some notes from our athletic director. We had 2 state champions here in Ashland, and in our future show, we hope to interview both of them and share their story with you. The first was a senior, Michelle Grassberger. Now, Michelle, I know, has been swimming for a long time, and she captured the 50-meter free, so she is the state champion in that event. She has also shown some really strong talent in some of the other events. The other state champion is junior Alec Pez, and I apologize on the last name, who won the 100-meter backstroke. So congratulations to both those swimmers, as well as to everyone on the swim and diving team for a great season. We also want to congratulate our boys ice hockey team. They earned a spot in the MIAA tournament. We've shown you some of the hockey games. Hopefully you've had the opportunity to either see them live or see them as we've shared them here on WACA-TV. We also had some wrestlers that made it to some of the champions, as well as some of our indoor track and field. For all the details, you can check some of our footage of some of the shows and some of the meets that we've shared, as well as you can go to the Ashland Public Schools and go to their athletic site for some of these updates. And that's it for our winter sports update. They're wrapping up their seasons. Spring tryouts will be happening probably in a couple of weeks, and we look forward to sharing those highlights with you as well. Thanks for watching this episode of Around the Clock. If you ever have a story or an event that you'd like to share with us, and then for us to share with our viewers, make sure you reach out to us at WACA-TV. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you again soon.